Namaskar and welcome to Express News. Let's begin. The officer trainees of the Indian Revenue Service, the 78th batch, called on President of India Draupadi Murmu at Rashtrapati Bhavan today. Addressing the officers, the President said that the job of the Indian Revenue Service officers is one of the most important functions for governance and welfare. She highlighted the importance of taxes for a vibrant economy. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi reaffirmed his government's commitment to strengthening the MSME sector, calling it a key driver of economic growth. Prime Minister Modi launched 2 new missions to further boost manufacturing and exports. The Prime Minister said that the government's focus is on better technology and high-quality products. Addressing a post-budget webinar on MSMEs as an engine of growth, the Prime Minister highlighted that India is being seen as a major growth center today amidst a phase of global political uncertainty. Prime Minister further added that R&D has played a crucial role in India's manufacturing journey and needs further advancement and acceleration. Prime Minister Modi inaugurated and visited the Wildlife Rescue, Rehabilitation and Conservation Centre in Vantara in Gujarat. The Prime Minister explored various facilities at the centre and closely interacted with various species of animals that have been rehabilitated. Guyana's Prime Minister, Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, arrived in Delhi on Tuesday. He's attending the World Sustainable Development Summit 2025. India's Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randir Jaiswal stated that the Guyana PM's visit to India will add further momentum to the strong and growing multifaceted relationship between the two countries. India's External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar will begin a 6-day official visit to the United Kingdom and Ireland from today. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurated the DRDO MHA Collaboration Conference cum Exhibition in New Delhi today. Addressing the seminar on advanced technologies for internal security, the Defence Minister said that today the country is facing threats like terrorism, separatist movements, left-wing extremism, communal tensions and trans-border illegal immigration. The Defence Minister further said that today India is also facing unconventional threats like hybrid warfare, cyber and space-based challenges. India's Health Minister JP Nadda chaired the 9th meeting of the Mission Steering Group for the National Health Mission at Bharat Mandapam today. Union Ministers Rajiv Ranjan Singh and Annapurna Devi, they attended the National Workshop of Women Elected Representatives of Panchayati Raj Institutions in New Delhi. A primer on law and on gender-based violence was also launched during this event. India's Minister for Panchayati Raj, Rajiv Ranjan Singh, highlighted that nearly 1.4 million women across the country are associated with Panchayati Raj institutions. Addressing the 39th edition of the International Food and Hospitality Fair, Ahar, the Indian Minister Chirag Paswan has said that the country has the potential to fulfill global hunger needs and that the government is working in the direction to establish an ecosystem in the country. On the occasion of the 56th Raising Day of the Indian Central Industrial Security Force, on the 7th of March, the CISF is going to organize a mega coastal cyclothon. It's a drive along the eastern and western coasts of India. India's Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Bhupendra Yadav, delivered his address on the second day of the 12th Regional 3R and Circular Economy Forum in Asia and the Pacific in Jaipur. Speaking at this event, the minister said that there is an opportunity for India to convert the large amounts of waste to generate reusable solutions for the sustainable existence. The minister also said that the circular economy has solutions for every sector, organization and even individuals. He said that India has also integrated climate change within the process. The Indian equity indices ended on a negative note in a volatile trading session. On Tuesday at close, the Sensex was down 96 points, settling at 72,989.93. The Nifty also was down 36.65 points. It closed at 22,082.65. The Indian rupee ended 5 paise higher at 87.27 against the US dollar on Tuesday. Gold futures maturing on April 4 were priced at 86,084 rupees per 10 grams on the multi-commodity exchange. Silver futures for May 5 maturity stood at 95,089 rupees per kg on the MCX. Following Trump's announcement of tariffs, markets across the globe have literally hit the panic button. Japan's Nikkei nosedived 2.2%. Taiwan's benchmark fell 1.3%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng dropped 1.8%. Technology stocks were the hardest hit. The global sell-off followed a steep decline in the US, where the S&P 500 slid 1.8%. The Dow Jones also dropped 649 points. The Nasdaq had plunged 2.6%. Oil prices extended losses on Tuesday following reports that OPEC Plus will proceed with the planned output increase in April. The US's sweeping 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico came into effect on Tuesday, with reciprocal tariffs starting April 2. So, speaking at the White House, the President of the United States said that there is no room for negotiation. President Trump has doubled the tariffs on Chinese imports as well, from 10%, he announced initially, to 20%. So the tariffs from China are going to be levied from the 4th of March. China has swiftly retaliated against these fresh tariffs, announcing 10 to 15% hikes to import levies covering a range of American agricultural and food products, and placing 25 US firms under export and investment restrictions. Canada also announced retaliatory tariffs. In a statement from the Prime Minister's office, Canada said that it will start with 25% tariffs on US imports worth 30 billion Canadian dollars from Tuesday. Canada will also impose an additional 125 billion Canadian dollars worth in 21 days. It added that Canada's tariffs will remain in place until the US trade action is withdrawn. The US President Donald Trump has suggested that a deal following in fact, it allows the US investment in Ukraine's minerals. It could still happen despite tensions with Kiev. In an interview on Fox News, the Vice President J.D. Vance called on Zelensky to accept the minerals deal, adding that giving Washington an economic interest in the future of Ukraine is a security guarantee. We're going to take a short break. Stay with us.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. And the US President Donald Trump has ordered a pause on US military aid to Ukraine on Monday, following a tense Oval Office meeting aiming to push Ukrainian President Zelensky towards peace talks with Russia. The pause has gone into effect immediately and impacts hundreds of millions of dollars of weaponry in the process of being sent to Ukraine. Donald Trump has reacted sharply to Ukrainian President Zelensky's warning that the conflict could last a long time. Expressing his disagreement, he said that Zelensky better not be right about that. Egypt is to hold an emergency Arab summit in Cairo to discuss the second phase of Gaza ceasefire and future of Palestinian state. UN Secretary General Guterres is also attending the meeting. Israeli forces carried out airstrikes on a military site in Kandahar, which is northwest Syria's Latakia province, targeting arms stored by the previous Syrian government. The Syrian sources have reported strikes on 3 former Syrian army assets, a radar station, a weapons depot, and a berth near the Mediterranean port of Tartus. The European Union President Ursula von der Leyen on Tuesday unveiled an €800 billion defence initiative aimed at strengthening Europe's military capabilities amid rising security threats. EU President, in a statement, outlined the Rearm Europe plan, which seeks to boost national defence spending, streamline joint procurement, and enhance military support for Ukraine. In southern Bolivia, at least 31 people died after a bus plunged into a ravine after a collision with a pickup truck. 22 people were injured in the accident. Investigators said they suspected the pickup driver of causing the collision by crossing lanes into the oncoming traffic, ramming headlong into the bus. Protesters erupted in Bangladesh, these protests, as the demonstrations there, they saw the burning of an effigy of the Home Affairs advisor Jahangir Alam Chowdhury. They were demanding his resignation over remarks allegedly justifying an attack on 2 women in Dhaka. Pope Francis rested well overnight at the Vatican. This is what they've said on Tuesday after the 88-year-old pontiff suffered a setback the day earlier. North Korea has slammed the United States for political and military provocations over the visit of a US Navy aircraft carrier to the South Korean port of Busan. Thousands were evacuated in Japan as the worst wildfire in decades continues to burn. Multiple large military helicopters were deployed to the disaster areas to combat the fire. Japan's Fire and Disaster Management Agency said that the fire has spread over 2,600 hectares of land and 4,596 people have been ordered to evacuate. Firefighters struggled to contain the wildfire in northeastern Japan. More than 2,000 troops and firefighters have been deployed from across the country. The blaze near the Ufunato in Iwate Prefecture, it has engulfed 2,600 hectares on Tuesday. The authorities have warned that the fire is spreading further. Water drops helped fight wildfires in South Carolina. This is more than 4,000 acres of statewide and across the state. They have burnt in almost 200 fires, prompting the governor, Henry McMaster, to declare a state of emergency. Intense rains have caused floods and rivers to overflow in northern Peru. The residents were forced to move out of their homes as the government issued a red alert. The floodwaters in Peru affected some 150,000 people and 3,000 houses and caused damage in public spaces such as the dilapidated Virgin del Carmen Cemetery. Houses in parts of Indonesia's capital, Jakarta, also were submerged up to their roofs as residents were wading through chest-deep floodwater. Over 1,000 residents have been affected. Jakarta's Deputy Governor Rano Karno visited one of the worst hit areas in Lebak Bulus in South Jakarta on Tuesday to assess the situation and to engage with affected residents. Heavy rains flooded the eastern part of Gran Canaria, sweeping cars away and leaving streets blanketed in mud. A sudden storm hit the Telde region. Dozens of cars were seen floating down the roads and crashing into a ravine. Residents of Spain's Gran Canaria, they joined forces with emergency services to clear the mud deposited on the streets by the torrential downpour. The Spanish Meteorological Agency had issued a yellow alert for the Canary Islands. Rare tropical cyclone swirled off eastern Australia. The weather officials said that the storm is likely to cross the coast late Thursday or early Friday, striking land between the metropolitan Brisbane and the tourist haven, the Sunshine Coast. Thailand's Nakhon Ratchasima province has grappled with an earlier than expected drought. The conditions have prompted the provincial governor there to issue an urgent measure across all 32 districts. Thailand's Buriram province is facing severe water shortages, with 26 villages affected by the prolonged dry spell since late last year. Doda town in the Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir was covered in a thick blanket of snow after the region received heavy snowfall. Traffic on the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway has been temporarily halted after a landslide in Mehad area of Ramban. The region is experiencing severe weather conditions with Banihal receiving fresh snowfall. The entire region of India's Lahore and Spiti was covered in snow after heavy snowfall. The recent snowfall attracted a large influx of tourists to Simla and other hill stations. The India Meteorological Department has issued an orange alert. This is thunderstorms and lightning with heavy rain or snowfall likely over Jammu region and Himachal Pradesh. A grand pre-Holi celebration was held in Ramanreti Ashram, which is in India's Mathura. Vibrant colors were smeared on faces and people danced to the beats of traditional music. The air was filled with laughter and the streets in Mathura echoed with chants of Holi Hai and Radhe Radhe as everyone came together to celebrate the arrival of spring and the victory of good over evil. Artist Rika Wu has kept Hong Kong's heritage alive, dressed in a delicate embroidered costume. Her headdress, in fact, was adorned with glittering sequins. Wu is one of the dwindling number of performers striving to keep the Cantonese opera alive. Her passion and commitment are inspiring a new generation of enthusiasts as well. And with the origins of this form of opera dating back to the 13th century, the Cantonese opera has long been an integral part of Hong Kong's cultural heritage. Dressed in hand-embroidered costumes and mounted on horses, revelers, they rode through the Brazilian city of Bonfim. This is a tradition that turns the war between the Moors and the Christians into a festival. Rio de Janeiro's downtown was filled with music, flowers and bugs. Come here, my flower block party. Flowery costumes dominated the party where revelers danced to the rhythm of the batucada music. Revelers in the Brazilian town of São Caetano de Oliveira celebrated the carnival. They were exulting for joy. People were wearing colorful clothes. They also wore masks, bull suits apart from other things. And typically this is called the Boi de Mascara festivity. The Boi festival, it's representing bulls, the local folklore characters. It brings together indigenous African and Portuguese traditions. The Beja Samba School, it captivated audiences with a vibrant performance at Rio de Janeiro Carnival, parading through the famed Samba Drome. The streets were filled with the rhythmic beats of the samba as dancers swirled. They leaped to the infectious rhythms and also defined Brazil's most famous festival. Revelers made flowery mess in Greek carnival tradition. Armed with bags of flour, the participants donned plastic suits and goggles, which the spectators stood on the other side, and then the town square. They were avoiding a mess. French designer Victor Vinsanto unveiled a completely frosty autumn-winter 2025-26 collection, accompanied for the occasion by the singer and comedian Camille Luchul. One of Hong Kong's most historic theatres, the Sunbeam Theatre, closed its doors for the last time on Tuesday. Over 1,000 Cantonese opera fans gathered to bid farewell to the iconic venue. Founded in 1972, the North Point landmark, long regarded as a cornerstone of Cantonese opera, is set to be transformed into a church following its final curtain call. The Colombian singer Shakira greeted fans outside the hotel that she was staying at in Santiago after her concerts in the Chilean capital were cancelled. Her fans cheered her on and they chanted her name as she exited the hotel to speak to them. Kristen Ritter has joined the cast of the show Dexter Resurrection. She will star in the Showtime series as a guest star named Mia. The International Indian Film Academy is set to mark a golden jubilee of iconic film Sholay. The organizers of the IFA, they have decided to organize an exclusive screening of the film at Jaipur's legendary Raj Mandir Cinema. Australia won the toss. They opted to bat first against India. It's a high-stakes semi-final clash of the ICC Champions Trophy. It's happening in Dubai. The batting superstar Virat Kohli needs to score just 40 runs more to become India's leading run scorer in the Champions Trophy in history. The English legend James Anderson is aiming to play in the 100. This is for the first time after entering the draft of this year's tournament. The legendary left-arm spinner Padmakar Shivalkar passed away at the age of 84 in Mumbai. He was conferred with the C.K. Naidu Lifetime Achievement Award in 2017. Khelo India Winter Games 2024 are to begin from March 9 to 12 in Gulmarg. The event, initially scheduled for February 22 to 25, was postponed because of insufficient snowfall. India's Sports Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia criticized the Congress and the TMC leaders over their body-shaming remarks of the Indian cricketer Rohit Sharma. A total of 16 countries are going to participate in the second Asian Yogasana Championship, scheduled to be held in New Delhi from March 29 to 31. Delhi High Court stayed the Indian Olympic Association order, which replaced the Boxing Federation of India with a 5-member ad hoc committee. India to host its first ever New World Para Athletics Grand Prix 2025 from March 11 to 13 in New Delhi. The event will witness participation from 20 countries. In tennis, Stefanos Tsitsipas has returned to the top 10 in the ATP rankings after his title-winning run in Dubai. Novak Djokovic will have old rival Andy Murray back in his coaching corner as he attempts to win the Indian Wells title for the first time in almost a decade. Carlos Alcaraz could face Novak Djokovic in the quarterfinal stage of the Indian Wells. The defending champion Iga Swiatek in the women's section also faces a tough draw. The Brazilian forward Vinicius Jr. has reaffirmed his commitment to Real Madrid, brushing aside speculation about a potential move to the Saudi Pro League. Nottingham Forest reached the FA Cup quarter-finals as they beat Ipswich Town on penalties after the City ground clash ended 1-1 after extra time on Tuesday. Late goals from Kefrin Turkman and Tia Kupaminas, in fact, earned Juventus a 2-0 home win against Hellas Verona in Serie A on Tuesday. That's about it on Express News. Thank you for your time. Namaskar.